Hello buddy, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to be working on upgrading the steering. I had someone suggest this bearing kit that you actually put down on the front wheels that's supposed to give you the feeling as if you almost like have power steering on your Ride-A-More. I also saw a couple videos out there about this kit. It was actually labeled poor man's power steering, so it's pretty easy to find. But essentially what it is let me get down here. What it is, you got your axle right here that's attached to the actual tractor itself, and then down here you have your essentially your assembly that the wheel's connected to, where it has a metal rod that comes to this flat plate right here, and it comes up through the axle right here and has an E-clip. Now what it is, there's a bearing kit that goes right in between this flat plate right here and your axle. And what that's supposed to do is that's supposed to eliminate all the extra friction that's generated by the weight of the motor pushing down on top of that flat plate. And with my case, now I got my seat and my counterweight back here, so I'm generating a lot more extra friction as that wheel's trying to turn back and forth on that spot right there. So what it is, I went online. You can find them right on Amazon. They were pretty cheap. They were less than $6 for this little kit. And what it is, just a couple, almost like washers, but with needle bearings in them, very thin. And what these do is those go into place of that one washer. There's a couple extra washers just in case you need them for spacers. And this is supposed to eliminate all that drag, all that friction there, and essentially give it the feeling that you can almost turn this thing with one finger, almost like you have power steering. So we're going to give this a shot. All right, so before I actually put the bearings in, I want to do a quick control test. One of the things I haven't really seen is how much it actually does, like how much of a difference does it really make. I haven't really seen anybody use any kind of like gauges or anything like that. They just drive around and say, man, this is so much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this right here. Now this is a pressure gauge, or like a force gauge essentially. And you see where it says pounds, I have 5 up to 30. This is used for commercial storefront doors. What it is, if say I have an assisted living facility and the door can't have no more than 5 pounds of force to open the door, we put this on the door, we push on it, and that tells us what it is. So you see there's a little O-ring on there, and what that O-ring does is that O-ring will slide across and it'll stop at whatever pounds it took to do that. So right now I'm somewhere around 17 pounds that I just put on there. So I'm going to do a quick control test before the bearings, see where this is, and then after I do the bearings, I'll do another test, and let's see if this really makes a big difference on how much force it takes for me to turn the steering wheel. I have this board and everything on here, so this way I have something to push against. I'm going to try to only spin it 90 degrees, so this way I'm not getting too far to where maybe I get an inaccurate reading. So let's go ahead and perform this first test, and then we'll see what happens after. All right, so you can see from the test, it took about 11 pounds or close to 11 pounds of pressure for me to turn that steering wheel about 90 degrees. Let's go ahead and get these installed, repeat, and let's see if that number goes down. All right, so the second test has been done. Let's look at the results. So when you look at the results right here, you can see looks like I'm right about 8, which means I lost about 3 pounds of force that it took to turn that steering wheel. Not a drastic result, but it's still a result. Now the reason I was turning it from right here is because when you're using your Ride-A-More, you're turning from up here. So that's why I didn't perform any kind of test down here or way out here or anything like that. For the most accurate, I want to do it right where my hand's going to be when I'm turning. So that's why I did it right there. Now, I'm sure if you had a normal Ride-A-More and you weren't sitting on top of your steer tires and had a counterweight there, you would probably have a much larger result than I did. Heck, it might actually even give you the feeling of power steering. But because of what I've done to mine, uh, I wasn't expecting to see a huge result, but seeing a result is still good, even though it's not a large one. Because all that's going to do is that's just going to prolong the life of my entire steering system, which means, you know, where the spindles go up into the axle, it's taking a lot less force to turn that. The gear that turns the steering rod and all that stuff takes less effort to turn. So it's going to prolong the life of my steering. So even though it's not a big result, that result is still a good result in my opinion. So the next step is going to be, I got one of those steering knobs. I'll be putting this on the steering wheel. I'm probably going to be doing some other little modifications or so to it down the road. So when I do those, I'll make some videos of that. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope y'all enjoyed seeing the force gauge and actually seeing a result from before and after. So if y'all enjoyed this video, hit that like button for me, and thanks for watching.